You think this Teams thing is going to take off?
Maybe. I'm a little skeptical.
Is that like Skype except better or worse?
Let's hope it's better than Skype.
Has anyone got parking tickets that need to be validated? Because I'm going to take care of that in about 30 minutes or so, or whatever.
I'll have to get you mine. Oh, I can take care of your stuff. Yeah, take whatever you want. Everybody got something to drink? Everybody got food? Nedra brought her own lunch. Did you bring enough to share for everybody, Nedra? We have rules.
I don't know if any of us would want this.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
Okay, we have some sheets somewhere that might be circulating.
I think Tim had them. Had people
Okay.
saying outside.
It might be outside, okay. We'll do a roll call in a few minutes. Right now, we're getting the live stream going. Do you need, you want to slide my phone under it? Would that help?
Well, the problem is just that the weight pulls it backwards. So
Oh, okay.
we're good.
You're going to be that guy. Well, here,
Well,
phone on the
it's-
front. Here we go.
Well, we only need it until we start the panel, because then the panel
Well,
will
it's
be
like a
set.
half hour, remember?
Well, with the panels. That's right. Dave likes to do it.
Do we have to sign a waiver or anything?
So just so everybody's aware, this is being streamed, so anything you say will be stored for posterity.
All sign the waivers, right?
If you don't consent to being recorded,
Okay.
get out.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Office 365 user group. I'm calling it the Reboot vNext. I'm David Levier with Crush Networks. Come on in, guys. Joel was detained in South Carolina for an event, so he could not be here. I am the president of the user group, and I can usually be found down in San Diego area, where we hold our monthly or every other month meetings down there. I'm also on the board for the International Association of Microsoft Channel Partners. My information, I'm on LinkedIn, Olivier. In fact, now that we have a lot of people here, if you would, open up your phone. Let's do this together, because sometimes we forget to do this in the user group. Go ahead and go over to LinkedIn, and what we're going to do is we're all going to connect to each other. So if we're not connected already, we're going to be connected. So once LinkedIn is launched, I see Mohammed's got a post already. You go to the People button, the second one from the bottom. Click. Ignore the existing invitations. Then in the top middle, it says Find Nearby. Click. And then wait. And maybe we'll all show up. I think you might need to have either your Bluetooth or your Wi-Fi turned on. Where is that?
Dave, I've never done that. I did the, with the code in the upper right, and then you just go around and scan everybody.
You can do that too.
What was the first suggestion?
Okay.
Find nearby?
Yeah, Find Nearby.
How did you get to that screen? Sorry.
And where is that?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't
I'll
see that
start-
one.
That's fine. So you launch the LinkedIn app. Down at the bottom, you've got, home, people. So people is the second one in. Then up at the top, right next to your connections and add context, there's Find Nearby. Mine says on. So shared
an
by
option?
nearby status is on.
Is that an option?
Yeah, I don't have it.
Don't have that option? Because
Nope.
on Windows phones or
Stop
Android?
it, I'm an Android. Just
Don't
stop
knock it.
Stop
Oh,
it.
iPhone.
The next option, the next way to do it is on the people icon, you click it, and then up where it says search, just to the right of it, there's a funky QR code looking thing. And there it is, it has scan and my code. My code's up on the screen. If you hit scan, you can just hover over it, scan it in. Anybody on that page?
I already have it.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I have done it.
You guys should all scan each other, and then we'll come back.
Oh,
Are you?
I don't see anybody here.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Are you on the
Yeah, 'cause
Wi-Fi?
you not only Wi-Fi,
no.
Dave, but you have
Try to join the
accept-
Wi-Fi. Actually, I'll kill my Wi-Fi. That might be the problem too. Let me do that as well. It's not a problem. I just think it works differently if you're on Wi-Fi versus Bluetooth. Not sure.
Maybe I'll do it the other way.
If only somebody from the product group was watching and provide some guidance. Okay, well anyway,
Oh, you're a Midwesterner.
that's how that works. I see that there are 3 new invitations. Thank you. Accept, 4 of them.
Cool.
Tatiana's not in here. Who's that?
Wow, you've been,
Oh, for people who are at home watching the live stream or at work, if you would please post a question to the YouTube channel, that will then show us who is connected to the stream. We currently show, I think, 7-4. Okay, they saw I was speaking and they logged on. Okay, so some logistics here at the 2020 building. The Wi-Fi is people space and there's no password.
Liam's not here, so we're safe.
Okay, that's right. And parking. So, as mentioned, Proficient, who is our sponsor today, they will be validating all our parking passes. So, if you haven't provided that to Mike already, please do so.
Yeah, because we connected.
Don't forget to unmute the mic, by the way.
You've got a solid red, you're good.
Yeah, solid red. Fantastic. On social media, we're on Twitter, which is the SoCal Office 0365. Please follow, like, and retweet those posts. And then on Meetup, we also are at SoCal, meetup.com/SoCal0365. All right, today's schedule, kind of in the air. We're not really following that. We're going to be doing our recap meeting where we'll talk about some of the announcements and things that have shipped since SharePoint Conference 2019, which was in May in Las Vegas, and some of the stuff from Microsoft Inspire, which was also in Las Vegas in July. Welcome to our new members. Thanks for joining. We had 19 new members last month, which was a big increase, but believe it or not, you've got 31 just in the last 3 weeks have joined. So I'm not sure if everybody's from Orange County. I know not everybody's here, and I can barely read it myself. Is Ralph in here? No? Sissy's not, no, Sissy came to the other one. Jeff is here. Thank you, Jeff Willinger, for coming.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Abby is here. No? Garrett, I didn't get a last name for Garrett. They might be on the live stream. Michael Barron, no. Sanata, Gerard, Aaron I know is watching from Mexico, Mexicali. Anna's not here, Hilda's not here. Leon Kaplan, no. Christopher Wing couldn't make it. Kevin Clemens couldn't make it in the same meeting as Christopher, I think. Rion, no. Bilal
Is on the stream?
is on the stream. Excellent. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Reagan is not here. Might be on the stream. In the same meeting probably with Kevin and Chris. Dan. Sheena. Sheena's not here. Henry. I don't know if Henry's here.
He was here.
Yeah. Hi Henry, wherever you went. Steve Giano. Welcome. Great, we have 3 here so far. Mark Burns? No? Mike Jarvis, of course, our host. Thank you, Mike. So it's 4. Joe Fernandez? No? Morgan? Could be a girl. Could be
Morgan's
a guy.
upstairs.
Okay.
He's a gentleman.
Perfect. Chad?
Upstairs.
Upstairs, okay. David?
Upstairs.
And Teodic?
Upstairs.
Okay. Wyatt Fleming? No? But I know Eric is here. So, great. So we had like 5 of those are here. Thank you. And for those tuning in, thank you so much. So, introductions. We'll go around the room real quick. We'll start to my right.
Hi everybody, my name is Tim Odell, and thanks for coming today. Really appreciate that. We're rebooting this. This is kind of like an offshoot of the old Office or SharePoint 365 SharePoint user group that we used to run for a number of years. So we're going to broaden our scope, and we've got a number of new administrators here to help us out. So I really appreciate all the extra help, and looking forward to something really good to happen. We'll see a lot of faces from the past. So I'm very glad you're here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim.
Hi everyone, my name is Zain Zaidi, and I recently started at Kaplan Group. It's my 3rd week there. Before that, I was working at Edwards Life Sciences. and I implemented, not implemented, but migrated SharePoint on-prem to SharePoint Online. So at Capel, we're gonna start doing the same thing. But Steve encouraged me to come here today. Steve is one of my coworkers, have been my mentor at the Capel group. So,
Yeah.
good.
That's what I do.
My name is Steve Giano. I'm at Capital Group as well, and looking forward to going down the journey of Office 365 along with the company.
You're in the right place.
Igor Karen, collaboration manager at Clean Energy Fuels, working just across the freeway here, doing everything with SharePoint and Office 365.
Thank you.
Alan Foote, I'm an instructor down at Saddleback College in Mission Viejo, and I'm actually using Teams and Office 365 in my classroom.
Glad you're here, Alan. Good to see you again, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Dave.
I'll audit your class.
My name is Jared with American Medical Technologies, or Gordy Medical, Wound Care. I deal with the infrastructure side, and we've migrated to 365 for Exchange and Teams. Whole new infrastructure upgrade and we're shared service. So there's a lot of small items going on that's going to be upgraded to the cloud services and stuff. So.
My name is Joe Kwan. I own a small professional services startup, if you want to call it that. We've been subbing for a few years, working with DuPont, and now that we're rolling off that project, we're looking to grow, and so looking to get connected. Glad an Orange County presence is back, and we're going to contribute in any way that we can.
Excellent. Thanks for coming.
Hi, my name is Nedra Allman, and currently I'm a customer success manager with LiveTiles. But the SharePoint community is near and dear to my heart. I was co-founder for the San Fernando Valley SharePoint user group. I ran SharePoint LA, co-chaired it with a great group of people for 3 or 4 years or so. And I think the last one we did with Orange County, but I don't think any of those people are here. So it was like a combo of the two groups, and it actually was at Cal State Long Beach. Anybody remember that? Yeah. Yeah. So, still, the SharePoint user community, Office 365 user community is near and dear to my heart. And my new favorite thing is Teams. So we've got SharePoint Saturday LA coming up in September 28th, and I'll be talking about Teams and probably a lot of governance around Teams. Looking forward to that. So.
Hi, my name is Rishi. I work at Hyundai out of America, and we are working on migration project from SharePoint 2010 to 2019. So it's still early stages, so we're doing like assessments and all those things. So I did work at Capital Group, so I was there for like 6 years.
Oh yeah, you got vested.
Yeah,
You were vested.
yes, I was there like last year. I moved out.
Okay. What was your name?
Rishi.
Oh, Rishi.
Yeah.
I'll look for your background.
Dave Koblitz, I work for a company called Clayval. We're a manufacturer here in Costa Mesa. I'm responsible for IT. We've been moving to 365 for probably about 6 months. We're actually migrating our 2010 SharePoint server on the 13th to online. So
Cool.
it's good stuff. Good luck.
We're all here to help.
It's a support group. I'm Jeff Willinger. I'm all about the intelligent intranet. I've been obsessed lately with Power Apps as well. Everything that Microsoft is like giving us, I'm taking it in. Teams is already all had for me, but doing integration with Teams, with different types of parts and really driving adoption and engagement. I went through that certification where I'm a certified adoption specialist, so I could even turn the biggest Yammer naysayers into believers.
Wow.
Anyway, so
that's quite the skill there, Jeff.
I mean, yeah, everyone's got such a bad taste in their mouth with Yammer, but the companies that are using it, it's like a game changer for them. You know, and I don't think, well, obviously Nedra works at LiveTiles. I mean, you know, you could argue that LiveTiles and Yammer actually go together great. I mean, I look at LiveTiles as more of like a beautiful skin-ish. You know, so anyway, I'm Jeff. I'm really psyched to be here. Unlike Nedra and Dave, I'm a big community supporter, also part of the SharePoint Saturday LA community. And I've got a special offer for every single person in this room. Have you ever wanted to speak at a conference, but we're sort of like, I'm not gonna get accepted, blah, blah, blah. And you feel like coming out to Denver on, sorry Dave.
Prior commitments, sorry.
October 12th. It's an amazing event. It's a SharePoint Saturday there. We're looking for some more speakers. You have to pay your way there because everything is volunteer. But I will tell you, you will have an amazing dinner the night before. You're getting a great big Amazon gift card. And that night, there's another big party. SharePoint Saturday, Denver. See me after, I'll give you details. Anyway, sorry, that's enough. I can just
Name's Arturo Alvarado, used to be a SharePoint developer, but now just transitioned to a new role, which involves Office 365 solution expert. So just getting the whole ecosystem up and going for an architectural firm called Brand Architects, based out in Alaska. Have a few locations in Hawaii, Guam, and here in Southern California.
Nice.
We
Get
should
to
talk.
travel.
They're my client as well. Small world. I do work for RIM as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
small world.
Eric Schmidt. I work for Proficient, so I'm the modern productivity practice architect. So I've done a lot of SharePoint work in the past. Do a lot of Teams collaboration, content migrations, that type of thing. Fun fact: I used to help run the Wisconsin SharePoint user group. I'm new to your group.
Wow, that's awesome.
User groups, yeah.
Hey everyone, Eric Halsey, currently global collaboration lead for PIMCO, financial firm here in Newport Beach. I guess my fun fact is I worked with the first Microsoft Teams product, and so I've been using SharePoint for way too long. So.
I pointed at myself. I'm Ryan Scouten. I work for Blizzard Entertainment, Microsoft MVP, also speak at these different events. Sorry, Jeff, I do also have a prior commitment. I'll be speaking at SharePoint Saturday Cincinnati that weekend. So there are a few local events. There's also, I know, Dave, we have SharePoint Saturday Ensenada is also that same day if you want something a little closer. I have done the Denver event. It's a great event, great location. But yeah, I do Office 365 and help Dave with the San Diego user group and SharePoint Saturday. So.
Hi, I'm Mohammed Khan. I'm with Proficient, Microsoft specialist. It's nice to see some familiar faces in here, some new faces as well. We've made our living off of intranets, someone was saying earlier, but as of late, it's been migrating and enabling everyone onto Office 365 online, etc. I make promises, and Eric Schmidt is the smart and reliable person that makes them into reality. And I'll introduce you to my peer who does more of the same, Michael Yaris.
Hi guys, I'm just pretty happy to see this happen again. I work with Proficient. My name is Mike Jarvis, if you haven't caught that already. And I guess my little fun fact is that when I was out of Australia, I knew Joel Olsen by reputation. I followed a blog way back in the day. And then I came over here, and a guy called Aaron Sloman hired me. Was doing a little startup called SpeakTech. He only wanted to hire an Australian so he could fire him. That's what he told me 3 months later. But I ended up surviving that. Proficient bought SpeakTech, and Rose said, and we've been involved heavily in this whole SharePoint space for years. I have a philosophy that we partner in the community. There's folks that we all know, and I was just so happy to see Joel join Proficient, and I said to him, let's see what we can do about this user group. And so the open-mindedness of this forum that we're just starting again, let's put our heads together and figure out what we want to accomplish. And I spent a bit of time at Microsoft just recently before coming back to Proficient. I'd sure like to figure out what asks we can make of Microsoft to make this a success. See a lot of familiar faces, guys like Joe Kwan that used to be my customer back in the day. Let's figure out how his organisation can work on things with our organisation, or what Jeff's doing with Steve Koskin and others like that. So lots of cool things we could do. And I remember Nedra from the day when you used to work for this organisation. So lots of cool things we could do, guys. And I'm really happy to meet Dave today. And I've known Tim a little bit. And just let's work out what we can do. David, thanks for being part of this and rescuing this morning.
Thank you. No problem. I told you it'd all work out. Everybody's got a seat. It's all good.
And by the way, we're going to be in every month or so, we're going to be meeting here, right? Is that the plan?
Yes.
And so the goal is to have that facility but we need to get like a good large number of folks. So if we can focus on doing this for the next 2 or 3 times, I think we're going to get a good core.
Excellent. Yeah, I would also like some feedback on the time. This is like experiment time for us. We usually have them in the evening, so now it's at lunchtime. I think it's working out good, because we actually get more people at lunchtime than we do in the evening sometimes, so.
Excellent. Thank you, Tim. All right, did I miss anybody? I don't think anybody new came in. Okay, so some calendaring stuff from the steering committee. As Jeff mentioned and Edward mentioned first, SharePoint Saturday Los Angeles is on September 28th. Yes, that's a Saturday. We have the speaker slots are all full, and we're announcing all those as have been going out on social media. I think all sponsorships were also sold out, if I'm not mistaken. And we have, I think, room for about 75 more attendees. So if you have not registered to attend yet, please put it on your to-do list to do that before Friday, if you would. About an hour drive from here. We are holding it at Microsoft's Playa Vista office again. We have a wonderful SharePoint venue that Jeff helped select, and that's going to be great. SharePoint Saturday Ensenada, Mexico. We're doing this. This is the first time we're doing this. I'm working with Sal Rosales from Microsoft and Joel, of course, and we're putting this together at the Cetis University, which is on the northern side of Ensenada. From here, it's probably a 4-hour drive. We have a call for speakers that is still open. We have room for maybe 4 more speakers. So if you'd like to submit a session, please do. We have sponsorship opportunities, and we have room for maybe another 40 attendees there as well. So let me know if you need more information about that. SharePoint Saturday San Diego. Once I finish Ensenada, I'll roll into San Diego, but that's always been a great event. Looking to help build the committee for that. I know that Ryan's going to help me, whether he's being voluntold right now, because after doing these 2 in the last 3 months, I'm exhausted. So, good opportunity coming up there. User group sponsorships, of course. We have a flyer, I think, going around. If anybody in the company that you work for wants to sponsor the user group, whether in San Diego or here, we'll give you the opportunity to basically, the cost is to cover lunch. We give you 15 minutes to pitch your company or your product or your service or your solution, or just pay for the lunch and have everybody thank you profusely. You know, you're welcome to share swag, etc., increase brand awareness as well. And down in San Diego, our next sponsorship opportunity, I think, is June of 2020. So if you want to sponsor, it'll probably be the user group here. Ensenada, we talked about. So the orphanage in Mexico and Tecate, Mexico. So what we do as a committee is, with the money that's left over from SharePoint Saturdays and from user group sponsorships, when there's extra money at the end of the year, we go to an orphanage in Mexico and we donate that money to them. And it's even better because we give the money to Microsoft. They then do a corporate match, and we help these kids out. In fact, we're going back down there, I think September 21st, I think, is a service day. We're going to help repair bicycles and fix toilets and stuff like that. If you would like to go, let me know. We have 70 people going. Thank you to Ryan for putting together the live stream. Let's give him a hand for this, please. It's not as much work as it used to be. We have pictures someplace with the 3 tripods, 2 microphones, 4 laptops. Now it's just the 2 laptops. Calendar of events, a lot of stuff to cover. We'll try to get through it as quickly as we can. We have a mixer coming up for the IAMCP. Show of hands if you are in IAMCP or know what that is. Okay, there's 2 or 3. Alan, I thought you were in it, no?
No.
Okay. Anyway, they meet actually at the Microsoft office here. It's a big networking event, primarily for Microsoft partners. But they're not doing a meeting next month. They're doing a mixer. So you can come to that for free and pick out and get a drink. The Dynamics user group just started up down in San Diego. Do they have one locally in Orange County? I'm not sure.
Yeah, they have a meeting next Friday.
Okay.
And I'm speaking.
There's a plug for that event. Perfect. We already covered SharePoint Saturday Los Angeles, and the next user group meeting in October in San Diego. General Networks from Los Angeles is driving down, and they're discussing communication sites. So if that's of interest to you, drive on down to San Diego. By the way, it took me only an hour and 15 minutes to get here. So, you know, come down to San Diego. We have a great time, and we have way too much food like we do here. Let's see. Yeah, Microsoft's doing their tech talks. You guys know that. Ignite. All right. So thank you to the Orange County sponsor, Proficient. I put Mike's name up there. Mike, do you have anything else to add about what Proficient does? You want to take a minute to explain that to people?
Yeah, I can certainly just keep it
Please.
simple. We're a systems integrator, about 3,000 consultants, founded maybe 20 years ago, based on acquisition of different types of companies. So we've got a Salesforce group, an Oracle group, a bunch of Azure ISV type solutions, but more importantly, we've got a pretty significant Microsoft practice. And so that's how you know, we came to be acquired. Our little firm that Mo and others were part of got acquired in 2010. And as I said before in my previous intro, looking just to try and, we'll try and do this every month here, right? And you know, I'm looking to try and help coordinate anything, looking for sponsors that want to, like, you know, help fund the lunch. It's about $350 or something like that for a group of 25 people. We've always got that room, if that makes sense, and if we continue to sort of figure out how to sort of make this good for the community, I'm open to all ideas. So that's it. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. And thanks for the space, the food. I believe next month for the user group, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Ryan is speaking and I think Crush Networks is sponsoring. Does that sound right? I think that's correct. Okay, it'll probably be in the same place. We'll just cover the food so Proficient doesn't have to, and we'll figure out the parking stuff. All right, so let's...
I'll always cover the parking.
Perfect. Proficient is always going to cover the parking. That's amazing. That's a terrific benefit. Thank you. Okay, employment opportunities. Microsoft contacted me, said, hey, we're hiring for Azure and Microsoft Teams people. Why do they need to do this? Because everybody's using Teams. They need 700 people. How many? 700 people. So if you take a photo, you're welcome to submit your resume to Crush Networks or Proficient or any other agency as well. We're all growing all the time.
Are we getting these slides? Do we have access to the slides, or do we need to?
We'll put it in the Teams channel.
Also, we're live streaming it, so you can just go look it up on the meetup. And go pull it that
Matthias
way.
is
there's
a
a Teams
PFB
channel?
for SharePoint
There's a Teams
down.
channel for this?
There's a YouTube channel.
But there is a Teams channel for the organizers
Yes.
as well, and we'll figure out. We can save it as a PDF and get it out there. If only there were a drive in one place, like a OneDrive, we'll figure it out. All right, so we'll take 2 minutes to transition real quick. Ryan will get you and Jeff up here. Our panel discussion speakers today are Ryan, who you heard earlier. He's a Microsoft MVP. He works for Blizzard Entertainment about 10 minutes away. He is amazing at SPFX and developer, the whole Power Pack, Stream, Office videos, business apps. He's been my right-hand guy for the user group for about a year now, and I really appreciate him. We have Jeff Willinger as well, who lives in Los Angeles and Venice area. Ryan lives in Corona. Did I get that right? Okay. And Jeff is a great guy to know. He's MVP. He works at CloudScale right now, and I'll help moderate this. So we'll take 2 minutes to get the video adjusted. Jeff, get you up here, and then we'll carry on. If you guys need to get food or use the restroom, just take a moment to do that. We'll have them sit up here, which will free up 2 spaces to sit as well. Did everybody connect on LinkedIn? You have 2 minutes to get connected.
How do you activate the nearby? I know it's
when I activated it, only had you come up.
I've seen
Because
it.
you're the only one. Mine was
But
off.
if it's
Just-
Oh,
if
okay,
it's an
okay.
Android,
Let me just
it's
check
the
that.
same.
That's fine.
Just trying to-
So again, LinkedIn, go to the people, go to Find Nearby. Yeah, I see Jeff.
So where does it say find it? I just.
It's not finding actually.
You don't have it, that is strange.
Me neither.
Yeah, and I've seen it before. I just.
My community.
I know, I've seen it.
What about it for me?
No, we were just there.
But you had the button.
Oh, there we go.
So you had the button. So
Or
maybe it's just
showing
this
up.
one.
I've been told you need to let it wait. Oh, I see Arturo's
There you
there.
go. That's kind of
People are
weird.
showing
Now
up.
I have
I've
it.
been waiting.
I got there in a different
I've been
way.
waiting since we started this the first time.
I think somebody said turn on, turn it off. I jumped back on the Wi-Fi.
Should we turn it off?
Wi-Fi,
Sorry?
by the way.
I'm connected to the Wi-Fi.
People
that's what I
space
found.
is the
There you go.
Wi-Fi, and there's no password.
Yeah, I think
So
Yeah, 'cause I think
for
when
me,
you-
I found this plus sign down here.
It's location or something.
And I clicked on that guy, then I got the find nearby.
Okay, maybe have like a different version.
Yeah, it could be just a different.
I have an Android, so I'm not sure if that's.
Yeah, I mean, I need to upgrade to Android.
I've never used anything else. No, I used BlackBerry before.
All right,
I
Palm.
switched from BlackBerry to
My
Android.
Palm OS when I looked at it.
Oh, more people are showing up. I see Steve now. Click.
Yeah.
Boom. Easy peasy. What's really amazing is like in an IAMCP meeting at the Datto conference in San Diego. In our room, we opened it up. There were about 100 people in there, and about 75 people I hadn't been connected to. So just click, 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 click all the way down. And now I get job opportunities and recruiter stuff all day. So that was really.
I saw somebody demonstrate that at a Tech Expo event, and it all of a sudden became a suspicious activity because there were so many people rushing either LinkedIn or rushing the firewall or something. It blocked it. Yeah.
There should be an option to just invite all if you have so many, right? Just
Bulk commit, bulk add.
Ryan, you were very much in the center of the video. I'll scoot that over. Nice. Okay. You watering the phone?
Is this okay?
No,
Yeah, because you're fine.
it's not.
Welcome.
7 people. Yeah.
Right on.
I can scan.
Okay, well, I got 2 of you connected. Why Android doesn't have it, I'm not sure. So, some of the topics we're going to cover today, try to get through them. How are we on time, by the way? We're done at what time? At 1?
It's like 1, so it's 11:57.
Okay, perfect, thank you. We're going to cover Microsoft Search. We're going to try to cover the updated usage and storage numbers, performance improvements, the lookbook video, talk about that, the home sites, Yammer and stream announcements, SharePoint Spaces, cognitive and AI and machine teaching. I love the machine teaching. That was very interesting to me. Microsoft Teams announcements, which it sounds like most of us are on Teams projects lately. Power Apps and Flow, and the announcements that were made for compliance, OneDrive, and file sharing, updates to the O365 admin, and the new cloud architecture and multi-geo. So
is dinner being served as well and breakfast tomorrow morning?
we're going to cover it all. This is like a liberal arts degree. We're going to go a mile wide and like an inch deep. That's what we're going to do. Jeff Tieper, Corporate Vice President. Jeff, if you're watching, hi, good to see you. This has been one of the best, one Microsoft project I've been associated with my career at Microsoft. What did he mean by that exactly?
So what he's talking about is, if anybody hasn't heard, we got Microsoft Search is Microsoft's new and improved way of being able to access search, and they're also doing consolidated. So no matter where you are in the Office 365 platform, you're accessing the same results. And more particularly also if you're in the Microsoft 365 platform. So whether you're searching from within an Office application, say Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or you're inside your Windows desktop, you can search all the same results, whether that's people, documents, sites, all of it just shows up. You have the same results available to you.
Hybrid as well?
Yeah, hybrid search, yeah. Yeah, and right now they're working on getting it rolled out. Right now, what they do have is they have Microsoft Search in Bing, which I think is out for GA now. They're still talking about it being coming soon, but right now you can go to bing.com, sign in with your actual Office 365 account, and you can actually start experiencing what the results will start being like. So that's one of the things Microsoft, what Jeff's even talking about is like, okay, it's not just like, it's one Microsoft is in all the different teams working together. They've got commitments from the Office team, from Stream, from all these different applications because, hey, we want it all together. So
I'm
really pretty cool.
sometimes demoing for some of my senior management, and I love to watch how they freak out that everything we have is on Bing. So I just love doing that.
Yeah.
If only I had some screenshots I could show. Wait a minute. I don't know if you can see them from back there, but got the roadmap. I was like in the second row, so my pictures kind of suck. But I think a lot of that stuff, the search API coming out in Graph. So Show of hands, how many of you are doing any custom work with Microsoft Search? One,
Have.
2, 3, or have, yes. And Bill Bear also moved over to the search team from SharePoint. He'd been with SharePoint for, I think, 15, 14 years, something like that. Hi, Bill, if you're watching. Say hi to Jess. Happy anniversary. Also, some screenshots. Yeah, it's showing logins here with Microsoft account or your work and school account. It's a little blurry, but it is showing search results from files, from Yammer, from Teams, from SharePoint, from the web, from people. Am I missing anything?
What's the current name for this product? Is it because it was Microsoft Search with Bing, or is it, what do they call it?
There's Microsoft Search is what they're working on rolling out, and they're adding that into all the different pieces. This particular piece that we're showing here is they're calling it Microsoft Search in Bing.
In Bing, that's what I thought.
It used to be
Bing for
Fast
business.
Name. Yeah, Bing for business. There you go.
Did they get rid of the fast name outright?
Yeah, fast took a lot of years.
And what's the current state of that product? Like I can log
Fast,
in,
or
like I can log in with my network account on our Bing.
Yeah.
And I'm
So right
just
now,
curious
the
on-
Microsoft Search in Bing is in GA, so general availability. Elsewhere, they're working on getting it out, but right now, at least in Bing, it's.
Is
general
this the expected user interface that will be across all of the search experiences? that we see
Different
in Bing?
experiences, so like if you're in Windows and those sort of things, instead of being the horizontal, it's gonna be still more the standard vertical.
And just to be clear, I know a lot of us are partners with Microsoft and with the MVP community. You know, we have NDAs, we can share what we share, we can share the public announcements, we can share, you know, things that have been told to us in public. But if you have specific questions about dates, features, some of those things we aren't allowed to discuss, especially when we're being recorded.
One more question, does the search have like best bets and tuning and analytics, or is it, does it have any of that yet, or is it?
It's got analytics, it has, kind of best bets, they call them bookmarks, and questions and answers, you can kinda get similar functionality. Customization options aren't there.
So you can't do this custom search result?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
One of the things Microsoft announced at the SharePoint conference was that they're actually working on giving us the ability to do, what they told us they're gonna be able to do adaptive cards with SharePoint Framework to customize the results, but
And refiners?
they said they're working on it, but it's what they didn't have a whole lot of information at that point in time. They said, hey, this is what we're working on. Don't have a lot of information on timeframes. As you can see, later this year, also doing connectors to be able to do ingest content from other places, so you don't necessarily need hybrid in some cases.
How much can we talk about the Q&A?
I actually just
The
tweeted an
bookmarks and
article.
Q&A?
No, that's GA.
Okay.
So yeah, we can talk
All
about it.
right.
Every time I tweet, you get a little thing like that. That's
classy.
It's pulling everything off of 365 except for stream.
Except for stream, so.
Yeah, which the stream team says it should be in there
Next year.
next year.
I just tweeted a great article on search and the roadmap. So if you're not following me, I'm Jay Willie. I just tweeted it out. The website I gave you is also a great resource for you to just subscribe to. It's the tech community.
Oh, yeah, Microsoft Tech Community. Thank you. All right, so we will put a pin in Microsoft Search for now.
So one last question
Oh,
about that.
you thought I
Just the-
would?
Just the strategy, just
Go
the
ahead.
general strategy, what are you guys recommending? Like, are you, for people that are looking to, you know, we're looking to really upgrade our internet now, and so do we invest a lot of time with the enterprise search? We do, it seems like, I don't like getting into the newer stuff just yet, but.
If you're, the way I look at it, and I tell people when I'm doing presentations on Microsoft Search is, if your organization that is okay with the results as they come up, Microsoft Search is ready for you. If you need to do any sort of customizations, which a lot of large organizations like doing,
Yeah.
it's not quite ready.
Yeah.
The results will
That's-
work, it still does a good job.
It's still better than it used to
Oh
be.
yeah, it does a good job, but we don't have the customizability yet.
Has anything been done with enterprise search at all lately? It seems like it hasn't done,
It's
is there
in
anything-
process.
If you're in Office 365, they've done a lot of improvements, they do quite a bit to improve the relevancy and stuff, so they're okay for the most part, just giving us as is, because they're automatically tuning it. But you just don't have the controls in a lot of ways yet.
And depending upon what version you're on as well.
Okay. Feel free, we'll save some time at the end, and I think some of us can stick around to answer other questions as well at the end. So, favorite announcements. There were some incredible numbers. I think these were within the second or first keynote. 180 million monthly active users of Office 365 Commercial. 60% SharePoint growth in active users over the last year, and I presume that's online. More than 90% of Fortune 100s are using SharePoint, which is using Teams, excuse me, that was it. Yammer, we joked about Yammer earlier, but not so funny. We got, 200% growth there, which is incredible. 400% growth in Stream. In fact, we've been using it for our user group, and thanks to Ryan, and he has taught a lot around the country. I think the last one was in Utah.
SharePoint Fest was last week.
Okay, you did a Stream one at SharePoint Fest. Okay, and then SharePoint framework usage. If you're a developer, you're not alone. 373% growth. So, any surprises in these numbers?
No,
the Yammer.
Yammer.
The SharePoint framework's kind of interesting as well. As a development tool for Microsoft, it's only been out for a couple of years now, and we have that much growth in the last year. It just shows the adoption that it's getting.
That to me isn't as surprising. It's new and it's probably kind of vogue right now, and people can use it and not throw away their old work. But the Yammer, it's easy to opt out of Yammer, and it's not super popular. So
it really depends on
so to
the
have that kind of growth.
organization, because they sure are adding a lot of features to it to make it more like
Like the other kids.
Like the other kids.
But
whether
are people
it's
looking back at it
Team
though?
or
Right? People once they gave up, they kind of move on and don't look back. So there's the 2x growth on that. To me is a surprise. But if you put on there that it was a 6x growth in Teams, I'd be like, God, big deal. You can't.
Yeah.
Good luck getting out because people get Teams whether they may not know how to.
Well, it's using of Teams.
Right.
And internally as a company at Crush Networks, we use it for not just for the SharePoint Saturdays, not for planning our vacations, but for our travel, our partners. We're using it a ton more. And I guess after 6 months of almost every event that I go to, it seems like 20-25% of the talks are all on Teams adoption, how people are using Teams. I kind of wanted to be like them. I mean, I've got customers who use Slack. There are other MVPs who still use Slack, right? Laura Power Hour and Andrew uses it, and the other one, Todd Clint, right?
I think there's an MVP committee on it as well.
Okay.
I didn't start it though.
David,
Yeah,
if I could just
Alan,
comment.
please.
I'm in the education business, and the lack of use of Office 365 in the education world is just astonishing to me. I talk to other people that are instructors and things like that, and they didn't know Office 365 exists.
They've got Google. Google gives it away for free. It's not free with Microsoft. That's why there's so many Google educational institutions, because they give it for free, and when they're like, hey, this sort of sucks, they're like, yeah, well, what are you paying for it? Like everyone that complains about, oh, Facebook isn't working, like, what are you paying for it?
Well, the benefit though is students get a free copy of Office.
Yeah.
And boy, the cost of that, just reducing
Yes.
the cost of that is just
Where
gotta
my
be
daughter
phenomenal.
goes to school, they just switched to Microsoft, and she's like, hey, Dad, I think you know what this is. I'm like, yes.
And the journey is very interesting. In Idaho, where we moved from 2 years ago, the school district was all SharePoint and Office, and then down here at Torrey Pines, they're Google, and down at the Setis University, which is the first university I've seen where it's all Google. They use Google at the school, but they teach classes on Office. And when everybody leaves the university and gets jobs at the big American companies that are located in Mexico, or some of the Mexican companies that are down there, they're all using SharePoint and Word and Excel and PowerPoint and Teams. So, that's kind of one of the reasons why we're doing this SharePoint Saturday at this university, because first of all, they want American speakers. They usually all end up working for American businesses, and they're using Microsoft technologies. Microsoft has been going there and teaching classes for years. So anyway, any other surprises?
What's the framework, when you say SharePoint framework usage, what is the main
SPFX
application of that?
Yeah, it's probably building web parts.
Just web parts,
Ryan might know, but SPFX usage is probably for
Yeah, it's all
just
web parts and
SharePoint web
customizations.
parts. Yeah,
So maybe be able to add in
customization,
and footers and
Teams and SharePoint, Office 365.
Yeah, and since SharePoint Framework is getting in more into doing stuff with Teams as well, it's, I don't know if that particular number includes that, because I was kind of close to when they released the Teams functionality, but yeah, it's just SharePoint Framework in general, and I was on a chat with somebody that made the joke, it was like, okay, it's been almost 3 years, it's about time for us to release a new framework, right?
I would be okay with that.
Visual SPFX version 2.
Did they give any stats on large organizations moving off on-prem to cloud?
Boy, there was something
There are
about
2 firms left.
Yeah. They're all your
And
customers.
he's moving, so, so then there'll just be one.
Well, I think there was a chart they did, and maybe this was at the partner conference and not at SharePoint conference, where they showed that, in the beginning, they said, go to the cloud, and, if you have to, go hybrid. Then it was like, hybrid is awesome too, and we understand that there's reasons why you would want to do hybrid, and they did some investments in that, particularly around the search. And then the adoption, this thing that I saw, just it made it look like most people, I don't know if this is official Microsoft, but most are hybrid. And there are way more net new in the cloud. When you click a button and put in your credit card and pay $5, $15, whatever you're paying for your license, it makes it very easy. But the net new is over there. But I will say, I know customers are still installing it on premise, because many of us are in the business of doing infrastructure and deploying it on premise for government and other stuff like that. Good question, thank you. Any other questions about the numbers? If not, we'll move on.
I will tell you, I don't know if we're gonna talk about this today, but my absolute positive, remember I told you guys earlier, I like whatever the shiny new thing is. The shiny new thing, it's been around forever, but the firms that are really getting this whole internal communications and intranet thing are using video. So Stream is still like in its infancy, but I would start checking out Stream. I submitted a whole bunch of different abstracts for Ignite, and my Stream one is the one that got accepted. So, using video to really create the digital workplace and Stream. I was at another firm that was way more fully baked, and it was an amazing product, but when Stream gets there, they're gonna have a hard time.
Yeah, I like Stream, the 2-minute videos from the executives and stuff.
Exactly.
Has there been any industry trend towards using Yammer as the internal communications, platform? Because that's where one of our clients has gone, because initially they're looking at Facebook for business.
I've heard of Facebook.
Yeah, the Yammer product is just so much better than the Facebook product. And if you're a fully baked Office 365 organization, if you're not, if you're all piecemeal, then Facebook is pretty cool. But
Well, it's
If
what
you care about privacy.
Yeah, so
So-
it got
Because
stripped out.
Facebook is not there.
IT said no, and so now the new leader there is pushing for Yammer to be the communications platform, and the intranet, the traditional intranet, goes away. And so
That's blasphemy.
Interesting.
That's blasphemy.
yeah, and so I was curious if that's an industry trend.
That's a
or-
trend. I
I've not
don't think
seen
any
it.
of
Never
us
seen
would
it.
know, but what I will say is that I remember being forced to use Yammer at a company a long time ago, and then Microsoft acquired it, and then I used it again for another 2 years. And I remember everybody would say, oh, this is Facebook and the enterprise, for the enterprise, and at the time I thought, well, Facebook sucks, that's a terrible thing to say. I'm still not on Facebook, yes, I'm one of those weirdos. But anyway, then I started using Yammer recently, all the announcements that they were making about, inline previews with, anything that you put in there, a Word doc, you can open the Word doc from there. It's getting a lot of SharePoint-y and OneDrive-y kind of features and things like embedding videos and stuff like that. It's doing a lot of cool stuff that if you've been on Facebook for a long time, you're thinking, what's the big deal? But if you need to secure things in the enterprise and you need to be able to, say, delete conversations, or you just want to throw a question out there for like your consulting practice and have people respond really quickly and to have the agent running in the corner that shows you the alerts, I think it is a lot better myself.
or even just a shameless plug, if you want to tell your company about SharePoint Saturday Los Angeles, nice easy way to
Or
share class
Ensenada,
information.
or Denver.
Yeah, you have to make
Or
sure it's an
Cincinnati.
announcement, so that way they, even if they opted out, they will still get it.
They'll still get the email.
Can
But
I
yeah, I
just
mean-
add a comment?
Yeah.
In my previous company, we were using Yammer very effectively. It was just self-service. People were signing up on their own, creating private groups. If they're at a conference, they were sharing information with their teams. We saw a very progressive, growth in Yammer. We weren't doing anything for adoption. It was just picking up with the word of mouth. A lot of people were beginning to use it. And then we had a traditional intranet as well. I think that has a separate place. I don't think Yammer will replace it.
I don't think
Because, because of the navigation
part
and
of it.
news and employee search is very important.
Yeah, well,
See, integrate.
contrary to our
I wanna,
recommendation.
we wanna
that's what
integrate,
you-
we wanna integrate
True.
Yammer into our intranet, cause we're rebuilding
And-
ours.
I mean, like anything else, the more people that are on it, the better it is. Just like, when we decided LinkedIn, thank goodness I went all LinkedIn, not Plaxo, right? And back in the day, I'm sure you guys still have Plaxo invitations. They're waiting for you. You wanna be where everyone is. And hopefully the companies that are using Yammer, everyone's there,
So-
Nothing replaces good old fashioned email.
What's the messaging around communication for Yammer versus Teams?
Well, the admin center allows more governance of both than they ever did, but you mean what is the inner circle, outer circle?
What tool,
Yeah.
what tool do you use?
Yeah.
Microsoft's general approach is they say Yammer is optimal if you have large groups of people, like you're talking the entire organization, to be able to communicate. Because Teams does not do a good job if you have a lot of people to communicate with.
True.
Which, and they talk about Teams is more like, okay, focused. Okay, we have a team that has a specific project, they have a specific goal, and then that's where it shines. And then Yammer still does a better job of just general communication.
So human resources is announcing the new benefits plan, here's the three different, the HMO, the PPO, and the we'll pay you not to be on our insurance. And put those in Yammer, everybody in the company will get the alert or the email or see it. CEO makes an announcement company-wide. Those are good use cases, or new game is coming out, or
I don't
your
wanna
division
beat
is
the
doing
Yammer
something.
thing to death, but I was not a Yammer fan until I went to Livetiles, and because we're a global community, people all over the world, it is the go-to place to learn about everything. Every time a new employee comes on and joins Yammer, the CEOs and the CIO acknowledge that and make them a baby, but that's just only part of it. The other thing are questions, because there's a new question and answer feature now with Yammer.
That was one thing they
And we
talked
just
about
had
in
an
the SharePoint
upgrade, so we
conference.
could ask questions of the product team, so it is integral. Every day, I'm on Yammer, I have to be. And
Yeah.
it also, you would also can forward those posts to teams if you want to.
But yeah, so along those lines, one of the features they talked about at the SharePoint conference was the ability to do questions and answers. That way, just like Stack Overflow, you can actually use it as a knowledge base. Say, hey, yep, here's my question, and people can actually answer, and you say, yep, this is the answer for that question. So that way, people can find what they're looking for instead of having to dig through a bunch of different posts.
Oh, that's an interesting analogy. I didn't hear that one. Interesting. Okay, so performance enhancements, they announced a lot of things and some of them were actually already in place. They talked about, in fact, using the AI-powered insights and faster downloads, 10x faster downloads, 3x on surfing pages and SharePoint Online, the indexing, 30 times faster. What does that mean when you put something in SharePoint and you go up and do the search? It will have likely been indexed to where you can actually see the results within a matter of seconds.
Yeah, Microsoft has said with the search, one of the things, the improvements they've made since there was that question, in Office 365, they've switched most of their content instead of being a pull model. As you're making changes, it actually feeds it into the index. So almost immediate, that you make a change and within seconds, it's available and updated.
Do you know if there's a limit to the size that an index is, of the document? I know we use Box and there's like a,
gig or something.
Yeah, Box only does like the first so many lines of
Yeah.
the document, so if you have.
I've never run into, I've done some pretty large documents. I
When
haven't
you
hit
have
a
all,
limit yet.
yeah, that's a problem with Box, but I didn't know, does it index the whole document, the search?
Good question. I
Because
can't
like-
imagine that it wouldn't, or people would probably be revolting.
Well,
It's-
you know,
it's-
but-
because-
well, we have research documents that go like 200 pages, and so if they wanna search for a term at the 999 page, does it come up?
I'm gonna call a friend right now.
Very interested in that. And then also the AI, we're looking at implementing BI Insights to add some additional AI on our documents.
Yeah, search analytics.
The Microsoft Search has some analytics built into it. The classic search is still just the same stuff we've had before. They've gotten better depending on which version of SharePoint you're in, but it's still not quite what the full levels that some things are on.
We had a good question.
Oh, I thought you were placing an order to go. Yeah, 2 pizzas.
Okay, I want to get an answer for that. Oh. Okay, the question is, when search is indexing a file, comma, is there a maximum size of file that it will index, question mark?
Does it index the whole
Does
document?
it index the whole document, comma,
partial?
or just parts of it, like Box does?
Is that going on Twitter? What do
No,
you
this
do?
is a voicemail of somebody. But that's the thing, is like what he was saying, 'cause Box
Bill
does,
Bear.
Box does not do that, and it's
Well,
really
Box
annoying.
is also not a search
He
application.
said he's in a call till
It is,
1.
they
so
claim it
he
is.
might call
It's,
back.
it's not, but they, believe me,
Well, they
I
claim it.
sit in front of these guys all the time. And I-
Huge issue for
and I-
legal and
yeah.
compliance
I
for
manage-
discovery.
I manage Box for Herbalife, and I manage all the SharePoint and all that, but it's a real thorn in my side, that Box.
Oh, so.
That's their biggest.
By the way, this is the Cliff's Notes on performance. This is a good slide, and I'll read these to you. Probably hard to read in the back.
Number 1 is awesome.
Diff sync. Okay. All right. So if you missed this announcement, I'll do my best to explain this feature without showing it to you. Envision, if you will, on your computer, you are running OneDrive, and you open a file from your computer that is, say, a 2 gigabyte file. It can be Paint, it can be Photoshop, whatever it is.
Non-Word files.
Non-Word.
Non-Office files.
Non-Office, just whatever it is. And then you decide in this picture image that's 2 gigs that you're going to take a big chunk of the corner out, move some other stuff up there, add some text or whatever. You then hit save. Now, it's a 2 gigabyte file, but you only edited, like 45 kilobytes of the file, just using round numbers. OneDrive does a diff sync, and it, instead of you having to wait for the whole 2 gig file to now be re-uploaded to the cloud, only the part you changed is there, which is what, network access storage devices or DR tools do at the firmware level. All the infrastructure guys are like, I get you, Dave, I get you. But now the fact that the OneDrive client can handle that, they gave that example of a picture. They also, privately, I saw them do an AutoCAD file where they deleted a bunch of layers, added some new ones for traffic lights and stuff, and then saved it. And it was like a 4 gig file or 14 gig file. Blown away. Performance is so much faster. And I notice it even on my little $500 laptop.
Everything but Office Docs.
Office Docs, it's already done.
Does it?
Oh, it does.
For years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just this is a more recent thing to do it on non-Office documents.
So-
previously, yeah, it was always send the entire 2 gig up, and you have to wait for it. Now it's a little process and say, oh, you want to change this part? Okay, I'm sending that up.
Awesome.
And what I used to love about the old Microsoft Dev Days, or what was the old Tech
Exchange.
Tech Exchange. It's gone through so many machinations and all the different names, Ignite, Inspire, whatever, is that they used to do incredible demos, right? They'd have like a bunch of servers up and running, and then somebody would run through and unplug power cables, and the websites would all still stay up, and IIS would redirect things, and that was all cool. This is one of those jaw-dropping demos that they did that was very impressive because you could see it work, and then it rolled out about a month later, and I tested it, and I was very happy with that. I had Stephen Rose on video, and I'm like, if this damn thing doesn't work, sorry, Stephen. All right, and it worked great. So SharePoint is the biggest consumer of Azure storage. That was an interesting, I guess not so surprising but still cool. Your user experience has improved in Microsoft 365 across the stack because of the Azure being faster, and they've done a lot of investments on the overall architecture to SharePoint, and as Jeff Teeper calls it, geeking out on the technology. And he talked about how it's 3 times faster, which we highlighted a few slides ago, but he explained why the accelerated experience happens. And I can't geek out to the level that he did during the demo, but after you upload a file from your local device to SharePoint, he demonstrated and explained that you can search for it almost immediately. It is found. All right, so SharePoint look and feel. Usually Eric Overfield would help answer this question, but do you guys have any comments on the SharePoint lookbook and the new look and feel, Jeff or Ryan?
You know, I'm all for keeping it, you know, it needed to change a little bit. Having that modern look and feel is always, you know, a positive. And, you know, being in the intranet business, to me, it's sort of, for companies that don't want to invest a lot in user experience and design, you know who you are, you know, you get a decent out-of-the-box experience.
Yep, I agree. So they've done a lot to make so you don't need as much branding. They have some things, a lot of things you can do out of the box. But the nice thing is, if you're ever interested, just do a search for the SharePoint lookbook. They actually have printed versions, but they also actually have a site you actually go look at and gives you examples of different ways you can actually use all out of the box and make compelling pages inside SharePoint.
So what does that mean, a lookbook? So raise your hand if you've seen the lookbook. Half of you have. So basically they show you an incredible website. You look at it and you go, that can't be SharePoint. And then on the next page they explain, you know, this is the new modern homepage. This is a communication site. This is a hub site. This is the new mega menu. This is how we accomplished it. And here's the key components you need. And there's guidance and best practices.
Down to the level of which web parts to even use.
You can actually deploy demo sites automatically and just test in your own environment.
Or you can go to demos.microsoft.com if you're a Microsoft partner and do that as well. They're there. So home sites. Yay! Dynamic, engaging, personalized, employee experience for your organization. Jeff, intranet guy. Discuss.
I actually love the way this looks.
If only there was a screenshot or two of the mobile and the web.
You know, but to get to this still takes a little bit of work. You know, if your name is Eric Schmidt, you know how to do this stuff in your sleep, right? But for those of us that are not, you know, you need to get a hold of Eric, me, you know, others that know how to do this. But like we talked about earlier, I love where they're going, but to me, if you really want to take the experience to the next level, you need someone like Nedra's firm, you know, Live Tiles. It's a really, really inexpensive solution to put on top of this to just take it to the next level without costing a fortune.
When you say doing it without Live Tiles, what is the technology you need to know?
Ryan?
Well, to say just this, a lot of this is out of the box. So the biggest thing, like they're talking about with the SharePoint home sites, is yes, it's for most intents and purposes, it's a communication site, but they have added in some new things to give it some more power. So one of the big things is they have this whole section. They have a right pane that actually goes down the entire vertical section. Instead of having to say, okay, I want to have here right section, you actually can have different sections in the middle with a single right column. Also, they're adding in personalized web parts that are more user targeted instead of just general. So I say, hey, my documents, things I care about. So I think they have
It's here, my
recent documents, my news, my frequent sites. That way they have in these web parts that they're adding that are more user centric instead of just, okay, trending websites, trending documents. It's like, okay, things you actually care about.
So to get this, just back to your comment, you don't need a technologist to do this specifically.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, just I think using a home site intranet type thing. It depends on how far you want to get. Because out of the box, like with the lookbooks, you can do quite a bit. But if you want to take it to the next level, yeah, you're gonna need somebody that knows a little bit more, or maybe even some other tools.
So the SharePoint home sites, remember the old targeted audiences piece? This addresses some of that, but honestly, if you take a step back from what you're looking at and just understand Microsoft's vision and philosophy, when Microsoft went from the old Office user interface like in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook, and they introduced the ribbon. What a paradigm shift that was. There were, some people who liked it the old way. There were some people that didn't like that there were so many options. But what Microsoft actually did was they gathered telemetry of how users are using the program and how they're doing 3 mouse clicks to get to things like indenting, or they also looked through the knowledge base and the help desk calls and things like that, and figured out what people were struggling to figure out how to do, and they made them easier to do, and they put them more up front. So now, fast forward a decade later, and we're in SharePoint, there's all these features that a lot of people don't even know about that SharePoint does, right? You click on the waffle and you see, home, Yammer, all this other stuff. There's a lot of people that never click on that. The waffle, the triple cheeseburger, whatever you want to call it. It's on the left sometimes, it's on the right sometimes. So what they've done is they've put these wildly popular features that have a lot of investments behind them, and they're putting them on the front so that people who are unaware that they exist will now experience what the power users already know about, and it will increase adoption and save mouse clicks and time. And the home site loads fast too. Yeah,
Yes.
like it. Thank you. All right, question in the back.
Yeah, that home site, that right panel, is that just a layout, or is that like a different
You can just
version?
it's just kind of like with the current modern page, you can add in the
Like a section?
section, yeah.
Okay.
So it's just a new section type that
Okay.
you can add. It's just a full vertical width.
Okay.
And for those in the back that can't see, it reads my frequent sites at the top, followed by my news, followed by my recent documents. And it looks great on the mobile. Yes.
Similar question to intranets. I just heard that Microsoft will allow now to replace the root site on SharePoint Online with any other site. What's the benefit of doing it? Because so far it was, at least I heard that recommendation, to just do a site, something site, and just tell users to go to that site, and then you can easily switch to a different site. Now, should we start, doing that, putting everything, the intranet on the root side, and just making it our central location, or?
Well, I think Hub Sites has something to do with the design change, and you guys chime in as well, but the reason that I think they added it is probably the same reason that they allow you to now change the URL, is because a lot of times you launch SharePoint and people use it, and then they go to create a vNext of their intranet at a different URL, or in a subsite, or in a separate site collection. And now there was not a way to make it the default for the entire company. So that's what that solution is solving.
Yeah, because like right now, it's like all new tenants that are created get a communication site at your root automatically.
Oh, okay.
If you have an existing one, there have some PowerShell commands where you actually can swap it out or say, hey, I want to get rid of this, replace it with a communication site. So there's some things they're doing so you can actually create these applications that make it look nice without a whole lot of extra effort. Because right now you can get modern on the homepage, but you're cheating. It's not a simple process as what it normally would be. So Microsoft has some commands right now that are all PowerShell based. They'll be able to do the swap.
Can I add a comment? Late last year, we were moving over intranet from web app to SharePoint Online. So I didn't want to do development at the root site, so we started doing development on a separate site collection because we didn't want users to see the root site. There was some stuff there. But then we found out we couldn't do the customization and move them all to here. We had to do code copy paste. But if that option is there, this is very useful actually. So it would have been very beneficial last year.
Yep.
But then we had to restart the development.
I think some of the benefits would be marketing is usually very picky. They don't want it to be at the second level, like the second pack. They
Right.
want it to be, hey, my company name at SharePoint.com. That's what I
Correct.
want.
Yep.
It's a marketing thing mostly.
Bill Bear is getting us an answer. All right, next, Yammer and Stream. They're allowing you to do, well, actually,
We talked about the Q&A part
Yeah.
already, so we covered that one.
Go ahead.
As far as Stream is concerned, they've got the integration, if you haven't used it, that you can actually do a live event inside Yammer. It used to be in order to set up your live event, you say you want to schedule it, you had to launch Teams to be able to coordinate and configure everything. Now they've actually got it set up so it actually you can just do the whole setup through Yammer itself. Also, the mobile app allows you to be able to upload videos directly from it to stream, which it didn't used to do. And supposedly sometime here soon, we're supposed to be able to also get the ability to do a live stream directly from mobile. So instead of actually having to have a different application, do an encoder, you just go directly from the stream mobile app and say, go live. And then you can actually kind of stream what we're doing, but just kind of prop the phone up.
So, show of hands, how many people have worked in an organization that do live video streams, whether they're town halls or trainings? Okay, very few, well, maybe 30%. So I'm asking because a lot of companies will do brown bags, they'll do lunch and learns, you know, the CEO will maybe do something once a quarter or whatever. And I've had a lot of clients who don't use it, and you know, I'm usually there to do infrastructure or SharePoint, you know, migrations or Teams adoption stuff. But what I do know is that the companies that are using it for that get a lot of love from the people who are holding the meetings. So, for example, at one of my energy clients, they did training, and they booked out a room much like this that has capacity, a fixed capacity, but they invited everybody in the company to attend, that we would just be streaming it. And we found over time, over 18 months, you know, there was maybe, you know, 50 people in the room, but online, the original time, maybe there was 5, then there was 15, then there was 30, then there were hundreds. And it was pretty incredible to see the adoption take off. And at an airline company, they did weekly brown bag, their IT department did weekly Q&A desk. They just had the camera pointing at basically like those 3 geeks sitting here and just answering any questions that came in. Like Ryan's checking the video questions right now.
Yeah, we got a question about when will home sites be available? We don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
Soon.
Sorry to let you down.
Very soon.
But thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, so they have said it'll be soon, but yeah, we don't know an actual date yet.
I actually thought it would have been already.
I thought so too.
Based
I haven't
on
heard anything.
all that stuff.
Home
at the,
sites?
summit.
Did we talk about that?
That's the one we just
That's
talked
the
about.
screenshot.
They were
there.
asking the question.
Yeah, they're just asking when that would be available.
So I encourage you to try Stream Out. I think it's pretty cool. Just
If
think
you have
of a
any
use
questions,
case. Yeah,
just hit me up.
you know a guy. He's right here. Okay.
Real quick on Yammer.
Yeah.
So we try to do a lot with Yammer integrations with our classic SharePoint, which ultimately, we ran into a lot of trouble when we had some, you know, work with Microsoft. Is there an avenue or a resident expert or something around getting to the Yammer API? Because we had a lot of trouble with that. Anyone?
I'm not aware. I haven't played with much myself. But.
Okay. Yeah, because we had a lot of trouble. So, for example, if you link to a SharePoint site in Yammer, you know, kind of as a communications tool to broaden the audience, SharePoint site doesn't display it in the preview. And so, you know, we were doing a lot of work with, you know, the API and Graph, and talking with Microsoft, talking to the product teams and things. And ultimately, we just threw it out and we moved on.
Okay.
You know, would probably know that answer would be like Melanie that works at Cargill.
That's what I was thinking too. Just trying to put my finger on who that was.
If this is super important, I'll do an email intro to this woman, and maybe she'll get back to you.
Yeah, I'd be curious. I think it was one of those things we spent
She's
a lot
just really
of time
busy.
That's Jeff's dating.
And she's really
Jeff's
busy and
dating life in a nutshell. Right?
Maybe.
Maybe
You know that emoji.
That wasn't me.
Cool.
All right. So how many of you saw the SharePoint Spaces? Raise your hand if you've heard of it. Raise your hand. Keep it up there if you've seen a demo of it. Okay, about the same people.
Raise your hand if you've actually played with it.
There's show hands.
They actually have the demo spaces at any of the major conferences. So
Yeah.
SharePoint conference and it'll have it getting done.
I'm still trying to really find the use case.
No, Microsoft actually did a pretty good job with this
I know.
demo. But it looks like one of the things like they had the question here is like, did they nail it with the Spaces demo? They're actually showing as part of the Microsoft, they're completely renovating their campus. So to kind of show to people like, hey, this is where a lot of history happened at Microsoft. They've actually done some 360 videos that people can actually
as if they're sitting there, experience what it was to be at this place, because it's not going to exist anymore. So there's a lot of things, like that's what this particular demo is like. This, they have an area between some of the buildings, they have even a little pond where they had a lot of different things, where they had parties, they had launch events, they did celebrations and things out there, which this is going away.
So this, a little bit of history of the Redmond campus. Many of us have worked there. I started there in the early 90s, and when I met my wife, I got her a job there, and she actually worked in this building, Building 6, where Bill Gates and Melinda first started dating. And this is actually a lake, and it's nicknamed Lake Bill. And as a Cub Scout leader, I brought my Cub Scouts over and gave them a tour of the campus, and we swam in this lake, which was, you're not supposed to do that. I had no idea. Yes, I did. No, I didn't. But we left no trace. We got some hilarious pictures and great memories.
So even Microsoft, I think when Jeff was demoing us, he even mentioned that there may or may not have been people shoved into the lake too.
Sure. There was alcohol and water feature
involved,
equals,
yeah.
yeah.
Somebody's getting wet.
And that's how you got Windows ME. I'm sorry. All right, Jeff, do you have any more comments about the spaces?
No, you know.
Trying to get it.
I do like the new things, but you know, when it first came out, we were looking forward, like we didn't know what it was going to be, and then they showed us. I was like, you know, it definitely has some use cases.
But I would admit, yes, but it's also specialized use cases.
Yes.
For most organizations that don't actually have 3D content, Spaces isn't going to get you a whole
the
lot.
furniture manufacturer's huge.
Yeah.
The design area huge.
Yeah, if you have
know,
these organizations that are-
architectural,
yeah.
you know, making these tables and you don't want the white marble. Boom, here's brown. Boom, here's teal. You know.
Would a use case be to show different campuses of a global organization?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's this kind of virtual reality piece of, yeah.
Wait, don't call it SharePoint. Well, I think they took out the SharePoint. Did they take
No,
it?
it's
Or did they?
still SharePoint Spaces,
All right, I
because
thought it
that's
was
the
just-
runtime.
So what's the idea behind this thing? I still don't get it.
Basically, it's adding in 3D content into SharePoint. So like in the beginning, SharePoint was very much into documents. People being able to get in and work with documents, create websites. SharePoint gave them an easy tool to be able to do that and get started. So this is what Microsoft's trying to do for Spaces. So right now, if you want to go out and create your own 3D space to surface, to highlight your 3D content, it's going to cost you millions of dollars. Whereas with this, it just comes included with it. If you have the 3D content, you can actually have a design service where you actually can go in and set things up, set up a room that has a bunch of different ways you can interact with it in 3D that you don't have to pay for. So that's what Microsoft's trying to do. They're trying to say, hey, we're getting into the 3D space and we're making it easier for people to get in and work with it.
Does that handle 4K and 8K content?
I don't believe it does yet, no.
Okay.
They're kind of sprites. I mean, they're, 3D images like that you get in Word and stuff like that.
I think the first demo that I saw of this was a couple years ago, and it was browsing content through document libraries.
Yeah, they've got, if you have like 3D content in your document libraries, they can do that.
Show of hands, anybody doing like augmented reality and virtual reality as a development? Okay. Yeah, I worked at an agency that did it quite a bit. And the example, I'm a car guy, so the example that they showed, I think might have been Porsche, it could have been Mercedes, I'm not sure, where they had a mechanic wearing a HoloLens. I almost said a Halo lens, a HoloLens.
That would be a cool name.
I was singing Beyonce on the way here, it happens. Don't judge. Anyway, they had the HoloLens on, and the mechanic was looking at the engine of this brand new 2019 model that hadn't been released yet to diagnose something, and the engineer back, in Germany was telling them where to look, which code to look at, which connector to wiggle in real time. It was,
And even coloring on the guy's screen so you can see, okay, this right
this
here,
is
look
the
right
one.
there.
Yeah, that's mind blowing to me. I'm not going to use it in the line of work I do today. I'd like to develop more of it. It sounds fascinating to me, but for not right.
I mean, speaking of Beyonce, and when SharePoint Spaces first came out, it reminded me of I'm tying this all to my all-time favorite, Taylor Swift, who just released a new album. My all-time favorite Taylor Swift song, are you ready for this? Blank Spaces. Back to you, Dave.
Jeff stays out too late.
Did you say your all-time favorite Taylor Swift song, or she's your all-time favorite?
No, my all-time favorite Taylor Swift song is Blank Spaces.
That's a great song. Okay, machine teaching, show of hands if you've heard of this, don't be shy. Okay, 3 or 4 of you.
Machine learning, yes. Machine
Learning, yes. Teaching, no. So machine teaching, I'll try to summarize it and you guys chime in. So if you've used any type of a product out there that does, for example, OCR, and you want to train it. Now most OCR, optical character recognition software, how it works is you put a printed piece of paper into a scanner, it scans it in, and it looks for specific zones on the page. Like this is the loan number, this is the mailing address, and you specify these zones, and then once it's digitized, you can then send it to the server to process that using artificial intelligence. Well, in the old days, just using optical character recognition. Now using machine teaching, what this means is you can have the document, you can tell it keywords or phrases regardless of where it is, but you're teaching the robot basically what to look for, not where to look. An example, and so people can then train the robots to the bots.
Robot trainer.
Yeah, yeah. So that's my new title, robot trainer. Anyway, that's my best explanation of what it is. You are providing algorithms for the robots to make your life easier, and then they take over the world. Jeff?
You know,
Is there a Taylor
you
Swift
did,
tie-in?
no, there is no Taylor Swift, but when I think of Machine, I think of Machine Head, one of my all-time favorite albums from the 70s, Deep Purple for any metalheads. And so when I talked about, well, when you were talking about machine teaching, and we all heard of machine learning, this is sort of, to me, the next evolution of machine learning is really going to be machine teaching.
And where is it rendering rather? So machine teaching, is this all plumbing that's happening now?
Well, right now they're adding it into, like the example they had was they're adding it into Word. So we actually, like the sample we have on the screenshot is they have a Word document loaded. You can say, hey, this is things that the machine learning guessed is what you're looking for, but you can actually teach it. Say, no, yeah, you're close, but it means actually this part of the document. And so it improves the machine learning because you're actually saying, these are the scenarios, and the machine learns, okay, this is what it looks for in common threads. Like, okay, between all these documents, all of these, when they're talking about a particular customer, we know, okay, we have this contract information, we know we have the customer's name. Even in these phrases, we say, okay, in the legal contract, you can say, okay, based off of these words, we can tell, yeah, this is the company name that the contract is with, without actually even having to, you go in and figure it out. And then the teaching is just to say, yes, this is correct, you got your assertions correct, or if not, we need to adjust it.
You know, that's how chatbots are made, exactly
That's what I
like
was gonna
this.
say, chatbot use it, that's what they
So
we need to play buzzword bingo next time.
We do.
That would be fun. Taylor Swift.
You get
bingo!
You get bingo because of the blank space in the middle. I'm done. All right, so machine teaching. The best example I can think of this is something I saw about 2 years ago by a security company. What they did was they taught the robot what Waldo looks like in the Where's Waldo books. I don't know if you've seen this, but basically he looks different because he has like the red shirt and a beanie cap on that has a particular texture on it. Has anybody seen the video that I'm referring to? Okay. What they do is they then point a camera, now that they've taught the robot what Waldo looks like, is they open up the Where's Waldo book, turn it to the first page, slide it under the camera, the robot looks at the page and within a second finds Waldo. They flip the page, it repeats this, and it goes, and there's a monitor showing the robot basically takes a photo of it. It's not moving, so it takes a photo of it. It sees faces all over the place, and it takes a fraction of a second to take the picture, figure out what her face is, and make a match to Waldo. It's a little bit better than the hot dog, not hot dog from what show is that again?
Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley, yeah. Anyway, if you haven't seen that video, that really blows my mind to see it. It's pretty cool. All right, machine teaching. If you have questions about AI and stuff, ask
Is
Jeff.
it somehow available now to use, or this is something, it's just a platform that we can build on?
It's going to be coming out, but it's not available now.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good question.
Do you have a preview open for it yet?
Invite only.
Okay.
There were some vendors actually at the Inspire conference that were showing some of their prototypes, doing some water quality and solar and power grid stuff is pretty interesting. So be thinking of how you can use machine teaching to save you time. I shouldn't have switched from the slide. How I could use it is oftentimes when there's an event, a conference, or something coming out, there are a lot of speakers and there are a lot of sponsors. And I usually, as a company, we promote other speakers and sponsors and other events. And it's usually a lot of manual labor of finding the web page, viewing source, stripping out other code, and finding the keywords and phrases I'm looking for to put them into spreadsheets so that I can import them into another tool to schedule the tweets to go out and posts. So with machine teaching, if I could teach it where to look on the page for what I'm looking for, you know, what takes me 100 hours to do could probably be done in 15 minutes, which I'd be so thankful for. All right.
Modern screen scraping.
Yes. Yes. So favorite Teams announcements. There were lots of Microsoft Teams announcements. Show of hands if you're using Teams today. So about 3/4. Two things that you can do that stuck out to me. One of them is the files that need attention. So what that means is if you're looking at a SharePoint list inside of Teams and the files require metadata to be applied to them, if you drag 20 files at once and drop it in there, doesn't matter the number, and you didn't give it the required metadata, or if it requires check-in or whatever the use case is, the files need attention shows up. And the other Teams announcement that I like is you can now see more columns within Teams that you used to not be able to see. The one thing I wish they could solve, which I'm sure they're working on, is if you open up an Excel workbook in Teams and it's got 100 columns in it, you can't zoom in or out within Teams. You can click the button to open it in SharePoint and then use your zoom on the wheel.
Yeah, one of the things that along this rich Monday as well is they're moving the Teams experience if you're embedding a list or even a library, but it's also including custom formatting. So if you added in the custom formatting through the UI they've got, it'll actually will surface it in Teams. So as in here they've got
on the left, I think.
Well,
conditional formatting.
Yes, you got your conditional formatting saying, hey, in certain situations, add in a bar, which you doesn't require a whole lot of code to do, but you have a bunch of different information that you can customize and say, hey, we got the required info, and then you actually have different statuses and things. All that will carry over into Teams. So any customizations you're making along those lines for a SharePoint site, Teams will surface that information in the same approach.
Yep.
I'm just enjoying all the different applications that are being brought into Teams, and I'm really, probably my favorite thing is it's on the horizon, is being a lot easier to switch between
Fast
team
user
tenants.
switching, the top rated request on user voice.
You know, it's right, it's on there. I think I was the first one that mentioned it to them. I did go on there. No, I wasn't the first, but I was up there.
You were in the first 100,000
Exactly.
complained.
That's with the app, right? The desktop
It's
app.
with
You're
the
talking
desktop
switching.
app, Windows or PC or
What's,
Mac.
what's the huge difference? We didn't look at it for very long, but I was trying to identify the significant capability differences between the desktop app and web.
So what, I can't speak for everybody else, but I raised that issue on user voice, voted for it, upvoted. I used all 15 of my votes on that. What that means is that a lot of us are, you know, when we have partners, we're invited to their Teams tenant, or, you know, we partner with ISVs, with customers. So in our drop-down list, we, you know, I've got probably 15 or 20 different tenants that I log into. And for the life of me, I can't figure out how on the mobile device, when you're running the Teams app, and you get an alert from any one of the tenants, you click the button, it takes you right there. And honestly, I don't really care the reason why it isn't as fast with the desktop app, but it isn't. So I get an alert, or I need to join a meeting, or there's a feature I need to do in another tenant that I can't do in this tenant that I'm in now. You'd think that just clicking the button and switching over would just be magical and just happen. but it doesn't.
My question's more directed at
It's like a 10-second delay, and time is money.
in the web version versus
On
the
everything.
desktop.
Everything, it's the same experience.
Right, but why would you, using the desktop, it's hard to switch, but if you have multiple tabs open for your different tenants.
No, so that's a good, I noticed that Heather Newman, hi Heather, does that too. She launches Chrome with, has 15 tabs open, and each one is, or I guess browsers or tabs. Can you open a tab as a different personality? You do that
Yeah,
too.
well,
you could
You're the king of multiple tabs. There's like
what I'm talking about.
150 tabs
Right,
open.
so do I. Like I've got, Chrome, I've got Firefox, and on occasion.
There
I've
is an
got,
add-on that each tab can be separate session.
They can be.
Yeah.
So that's what Heather will do, and I'm sure everybody else does it. I don't do that. I like using the client, and maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just use it web. But
But they do have it. They do have it on there. The application will actually, if you're one tenant, it actually will still show you in notifications where you switch. It'll say, hey, you have a bunch of unread things, and it
you
shows
don't
you
know
which,
which one
it'll tell you.
yeah,
If you
yeah,
click on it,
yeah,
it says,
yeah.
okay, this tenant has 5 unread things. That's it.
by the way, do you have your laptop here?
Which one?
Your big one?
No.
Oh, okay. Next time we'll have Ryan bring his laptop. It's a Gamer One Alienware. What is it?
HP.
Okay.
HP only.
Yeah, 20-pound laptop.
It's pretty amazing.
It's actually not too bad. But
Yeah.
I got a bunch of tabs on this one too.
Yeah. Anyway, I was going to do a competition. If anybody had more tabs or windows open on their computer and it still ran as fast as his, you would win a prize or something.
That's the key, is
Well,
running
I can
fast.
run on a Surface and it runs pretty darn fast still.
Okay.
I think in one instance in one instance of Chrome I have over 100 tabs. So
And that's what I usually see when we do screen sharing. It's like, boy, how can you even find anything on there?
it causes people with OCD issues whenever
It
you
causes
screen
me
sharing.
issues. It's very tough to look at. All right, so any other Teams announcements? Okay, yeah. We love Teams. Power Apps, okay. Custom forms, transform work with Flow and Cognitive Services. Flow and Power Apps, some great new stuff. What was the big one was being able to get straight to Power Apps from the SharePoint list, is that it? But they already rolled that out? Or was it no, Flow's been there. I think it was the ability to create
the biggest thing I think
an
they're
app
doing
from a list right away without
Well, that
having
you
to
could
go
do.
on Power Apps.
One of the things they were talking about, I don't know if it's out yet, was the ability to do a Power App form from a document library, which up until recently we've not been able
Yes,
to do.
that's what I was paraphrasing incorrectly. Thank
Is
you.
it transferable?
Library-wide, tenant-wide, site, I think it's
I haven't
site
seen.
collection-wide. I think it's, I think there's a PowerShell and probably a
So they sneak that stuff in, and then I end up having to.
you can be on one of the slower.
Control it later.
Well, we don't want people just making power apps that don't know really how to do it, because they end up breaking their own crap, and then they come to us to fix.
And then you
that's
hire
it.
Crush Networks to come, or Proficient
Oh, really?
to come in.
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
That's how that works.
Job security.
Yeah. But you can, yes, I understand your frustration. Any other announcements on Power Apps? How many people have built a Power App before? Most of you, fantastic. That's great news.
Then I know they had a few Inspire things that came out about Power Apps and Flow. Anybody that was there want to talk about those ones?
Jeff?
Because we've got about 2 minutes. I don't know that we're gonna get a whole lot of Inspire otherwise.
Okay. Power Apps, there's new stuff. Next.
I'll tweet where the article is.
Okay. Compliance, where's Erica when we need her? Jeff, you know more of the compliance stuff, yeah?
It's gotten the thing that I got out of it is that it's every organization they're talking about it, they're compliance officers, and Microsoft is, to me, staying ahead of all the competition as far as having compliance and records management.
Yeah, it's gotten
better.
better.
That's a huge one. It's a huge feature for us.
What, how many of you are aware of what Azure Information Protection is? Okay, a few of you.
If you're watching the recording, we actually in the same location we have from our San Diego meeting last week, a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
We
yes.
talked about AIP.
Is that like information rights management, or is there a new name for that?
On steroids.
No, actually, the newer name is called Microsoft Information Protection. In fact, I thought Matt was going to be here. Anyway, Matt Sosman from Microsoft, the chief security architect, as well as Reza from Aegis Innovators, who are local here and in San Diego, did a presentation, which Ryan alluded to, covering the new announcements and stuff. There's something like 70 products, security products from Microsoft now. Okay, hold on, Bill Bear, what do you say? 1 second. I want to get you your answer. I think you had a question about that.
Yo.
Hey, Bill. Say hi to everybody.
Hey.
Hi, Bill.
Hey, Bill. Yeah. Okay.
Who am I saying hi to?
Oh,
Jay Willing.
well, Jeff Willinger and Ryan Scoutens here, myself, Nedra, and about 30 other people at the.
I thought you were telling me to say hi to my family, and I'm like, you're all wrong.
Oh, okay. Well, say hi to them too. I hope you had a nice anniversary. Nicole and I are celebrating ours today when I'm done here. Anyway,
You're a brave man to do this on your own.
yes. Well, thanks
During business
thanks
hours.
to Joel. All right. So yes, the question is there's a limitation in Box when you put a large file in that when it indexes, it only does a portion of it. And we know that in Microsoft 365, we were talking about some of the new enhancements and stuff in indexing and the performance gains in SharePoint Online. And the question was raised, and I thought it was a good one, that you, being now Microsoft Search, could maybe help find for us on whether or not a large file, when it's put in there, is entirely indexed or only a portion is indexed. That was the question. No pressure if you want to get back to me later.
No. So there's kind of this long history behind the amount of a given file, a blob, that SharePoint would index in particular. So if you kind of think back to pre-SaaS acquisition, or at least before we re-architected SaaS engine to support SharePoint, so think like 2010, when SaaS had been acquired but still a discrete product. SharePoint had a boundary of indexing the first 16 megs of any given document. Fast forward to 2013, 2016, 2019, and beyond, the native integration of what had been SaaS in the past, which is native SharePoint Search on-prem today, indexes by default 64 megs of a document. However, you can instruct the indexer to download more at your own risk. So you can specify kind of your own unique value in respect to how much you want the indexer to download. So that's kind of the on-prem history. Microsoft Search, we don't take a dependency on the fast stack or any traditional search stack per se. So what we use in Microsoft Search is it's amalgamation of Bing's AI and the Microsoft Graph. So, everything that brings us intelligence and insights across the cloud is kind of our indexing architecture. So it's all graph-based. That said, regardless of the size of a document you bring into Office 365, with Microsoft Search, we index its entirety. So if it's a 14 gig video in stream, or a 10 gig document in one